Education is one of the most fundamentals of one's livelihood. It is what builds up a nation, progresses mankind, and betters humanity's future as a whole. But how does it fare up against the strenuous lockdowns and the complications imposed due to the pandemic? There is no denying that despite the efforts of governments trying to maintain normalcy, the education sector of Sri Lanka has changed for the better and for worse. But the sudden and drastic transformations of this sector has confused several individuals as well as leaving multiple questions unanswered. The Royal College Red Cross Society plans to change that through Chronicles 2021, a series of simple and informative videos with several esteemed professionals and individuals to clarify the queries you have. For today's segment, we'll be focusing on education. We'll be breaking down the topic to namely 4 parts: online learning, examinations, co-curricular activities, and higher studies. One of the largest challenges that Sri Lanka faced during the COVID-19 pandemic was the practical inability to conduct efficient examinations. Some say it is unprecedented for such a large number of students to complete the full stretch of exam papers online. Yet schools and universities have made multiple efforts to conduct such online examinations. This includes having the papers divided into multiple choice short answer questions, as well as acquiring lockdown browsers and other tools and methods to ensure that the integrity of the examinations is maintained. For certain individuals, this has been proven counterproductive, but to several faculties in Sri Lanka, such as the faculties of computing, engineering, business, humanities, and sciences, this has been an effective method with approximately 95% of students sitting for the online examinations. But do online examinations really work? For that, now we have with us the Commissioner General of Examinations, Mr. B. Sanath Pujitha, to clarify that for us.
First of all, I must express my thanks to the Royal College Red Cross Society for this enterprise. Let me get on to my topic as time is important. Holding examinations is in a way a technical process. Examinations is the last step of this process. What is important is that the studies, the subject matter must be covered. Holding examinations has several steps. The most important is the setting of the question papers. You will appreciate that it depends on the syllabus that has been covered. You know, we held all the examinations quite successfully last year. We followed the health regulations carefully. We made arrangements to ensure that everybody followed the health regulations. Candidates, supervisors, everyone else connected with the process. We had no casualties. I can say with confidence that now with the experience we have, the Department of Examinations will be able to face any problem in this situation successfully. As for the deterioration you speak of in the performance of the students who sat the examination last year, I don't think there was any. Deterioration can relate mainly to studies. Examinations, as I explained above, is a technical process. I don't think the students who sat the examination last year were severely affected. They had time to cover the syllabus. We had time to cover our process. Of course, the department had greater readiness. You could say that the exercise gave us experience which is very useful. As I mentioned earlier, everything connected to examinations belongs to a process. Paper marking is one. There are people who have been trained to attend to the various duties involved in the different steps in holding examinations, marking papers, releasing results. You must appreciate that confidentiality is of prime importance in this process. The details of every steps is confidential. Examiners, that is those who set papers and mark papers, take an oath of confidentiality. Since we have been called in examinations for a long time, we can face difficult situations without disrupting the process. In all these matters, we ensure that all concerned observe the health guidelines. Finally, I wish to stress the Department of Examinations is a public service. We are concerned in providing a quality service to the people of this country. In this case, the students of the country, we do our best always to make sure that the content is covered in setting examination papers and that the papers are marked diligently and efficiently. We have the welfare of the next generation of our country at heart. We want to ensure that all generations are treated equally and well. I have the confidence that my department has the will and the capacity to deliver this. Finally, I wish to express my appreciation of these young people for their interest and enthusiasm they take in the affairs of the country. Thank you very much.
Students in their higher studies were affected a little harsher than the students in school were. While school students were mostly elated for the holidays and the online learning process, most students in their higher studies longed for the practical lessons and the opportunities that they would miss out of due to the pandemic. But some realized that the rise of online education would be an opportunity to advance their education and professional development by taking other professional courses offered online, advancing their skills that would help them get through their education. This created a large increase of applications in the past year. Universities resumed their learning from the 6th of July 2020, a contingent on the adherence to the health guidelines and done on a limited scale, which gave priority to the final year students. But that too had to close down during the long lockdown periods. Access to computer hardware did not seem like an obstacle for the faculty. More than 90% in-state and non-state higher education institutions reported owning a laptop, while more than 50% of faculty received laptops from higher education institutions. So what are the problems that are affecting the higher study institutions? Did it benefit the students or was it harmful? With us today we have the Deputy Vice Chancellor at NSBM, Professor Chamindra Ratnayaka, to tell us more.
NSBM Green University is not having any medical degrees, but in terms of practical, we have computing and engineering degrees, and also we recently started science. So what we believe is that these practical examinations should be conducted in practically, right? That is, for an example, if you take a computer, there can be these simulations and all these technologies which are using. But then still like a practical examination to be standard, it should be practical. That is what I believe. So I think what the most universities have done is they've mostly postponed the practical examinations for the latter part and try to conduct all the theoretical examinations priorly, so that they will have ample time, and then later they will do the practical examinations. That is the easiest way. We have some, for an example, our engineering faculty have some simulations where students can log in from, not simulations, but practical software connectivity to the, network connectivity to the laboratories and do some practical. So they do it, but that is also in experiment level. So what they're trying to do is finish most of the theoretical lectures much sooner and come to the practical. I'm not sure how it has done in medical universities, but faculties, but I still think they would have taken these into two smaller groups and done the practicals. Even here, whenever the necessity is there, what we do is we bring the student in and do the practicals here. So I think it's there are two sides of it. Like one is people who are students who are already engaged in. I think everybody are knowing that it's quite obvious that what has done is what the government and the parents try to do. They've brought down their parents from the other countries back into here for the safety reasons. I think the factor that they would have thought is regarding the safety first than any other thing. So that is what has happened. I think even in the Wuhan, there were some students who were trapped there with the pandemic, and parents brought them down here. So we know that obviously have affected the higher education for these students who are trying to fly into the other countries and trying to get their education in the other countries. Say it would have been affected. There are some universities who are adapting like online examinations and online lectures. Even if you're in offshore, you can do them. But some I think has got disrupted. Some have got disrupted. So in that place, I think a place like NSBM also came as an option for some of the students, because NSBM is having international level facilities. So some parents and students opted to join students through maybe at the first year or second year of their study levels at NSBM. So it's basically, we all know it's one field that affected initially, especially for the higher education, this pandemic. But later on, people are adapting with other methods like online. I think now even government is trying to give injections to the students who are trying to fly and get them vaccine and send them abroad as a priority group. So I think in long term, I think there's a delay, but then practically they will try to go to the other countries as well, because people are slowly learning how to live with this pandemic. Well, I think mostly for lecturers, I will forget about lecturers for the moment. Let's think about teachers, our school teachers, who maybe people would presume that they would have lesser knowledge than lecturers. Still, we know even in the remote areas of the countries, most of the teachers got through this software, because like say Microsoft Zoom and Zoom software, and at the same time Microsoft Teams software. So through them, they got through. I think teachers are getting used to this much quicker, because it's just a tool that they are having, and these tools are practically, if someone want to learn these tools, it's just basically keep on working on them. You take a mobile phone, even if you are using only, you will learn it. So that is there. So I think there would have been a problem to parents and teachers and these lecturers at the beginning, but then they very quickly understood and they've learned it very quickly. Problems are there in terms of data connections, and maybe the teaching is not done in methodological way in a systematic way for these teachers and teachers especially, so that the standard of their content from one teacher to the other would be vary, right? So if you take NSBM, well, we've set up some standards. We've given the lecturers guidance how they should do a presentation, the timing of the presentation, and how to take attendance through online. We've given them a training, and then at the same time, the top management is always weaving these lectures randomly and see whether those are going in accordance with what we planned. So we've done a training, and if you take the entire country, I think even though it's a new thing, I see the positive side. There might be negative things, but even if you take your teachers, you would have noticed that they've learned it very quickly, and they've used it practically. Because people, what we need to remember is that this is a pandemic. This is not something we ever expected. This is something very new, right? So nobody was ready for this, right? So we need to accept mistakes that people are doing. We need to accept technical problems that can come. But still, as a country, even though in a slow pace, we tried at least to progress. That happens most of the schools. There are some exceptions. I'm always saying remote areas, there are some problems, but if you see the positive side, places which it can move, it moved. I think authorities need to see any other alternatives for less facilities areas, remote areas. Maybe another option, maybe if the places are not having COVID, some other options, alternatives, so that they can get physical study. So my answer for this one is that lecturers and teachers both, they've learned it very quickly whenever it's necessary. There may be some problems because the standardized education wasn't there. So standard-wise, there may be some deviations. Say, for an example, some would talk with a muted mic, and after some time they would talk and they don't know. So these kind of technical glitches and all that can come up. But still, as a whole, I think they've managed for much extent.
Sri Lanka made a remarkable quick shift to the online tertiary education after all educational institutions were forced to shut down in March 2020 due to the COVID-19 pandemic. According to an online survey conducted out of universities and school administration faculties in June 2020, nearly all faculty tried online education, and close to about 90% of teachers participated in online teaching despite the lack of experience. Some faculty voiced concern that prolonged usage of smartphones could harm the students' physical and mental health. The faculty members and students are also concerned about the limited interactions between students and teachers. Yet online education enabled continuous learning without spreading of COVID-19 virus, saved time and physical space in delivering course content, facilitated information sharing and on-demand learning. It also provided flexibility in teaching delivery and increased quality with the increase of PowerPoint presentations and quizzes. An online survey proved that individuals studying in colleges and universities also actively joined online education, achieving at about 88% participation rate for both state and non-state institutions. To find out more about the specifics of online learning, today we have with us Mr. Minol Dolivira, the Deputy Head Prefect in charge of academics at Royal College for the year 2020.
While building an all-new system from scratch had all those benefits, as expected we did face challenges too, mainly as technical difficulties and system drops. A major challenge undertaken primarily by the prefects was getting a population of over 5,000 students and 300 plus teachers on board an entirely new online system. It had a steep learning curve. However, once that initial phase where everyone was getting used to the system was over, things went much smoother. The Cloud School system of Royal College was a massive project launched in March 2020, led by the academic staff, the RCU, SDS, CodeGen, and the Prefects Council. It took over the education in Royal College in the face of the COVID-19 pandemic. The Cloud School system incorporated the LMS, the Learning Management System, and the SMS, the Student Management System. And this was initially built entirely from scratch, targeting the specific needs of Royal College. As such, we had control over the entire platform. We were able to customize it and improve the system over time in however way we wanted, in response to requests made by teachers, students, and parents. This was a major advantage we had compared to a system made by an external body such as MS Teams or Google Classrooms, which was used by most other schools in 2020. Furthermore, we were able to use one unified platform for all our requirements, such as hosting online classes, uploading assignments, exams, maintaining student attendance, and other records. But the best thing about this system is the potential to grow. The possibilities are unlimited. For example, entirely digitizing the syllabus as pre-recorded lessons is an option where students have the flexibility to learn whenever they want, wherever they want. This depends entirely on how we define the goal of education. If if it's learning subject content, online learning is very effective. It's being successfully applied even in leading universities around the world, and in fact, it might be even more effective than classroom learning. For example, a student with a lesson recording can pause, think, rewind, and come back to an area he is having trouble understanding. Students have easy access to supplementary resources online, and merely not wasting an hour or two every day going to school and back during traffic hours could go a long way, especially for an A-level student. And getting Island first and second in bio last year is testament to that fact. However, for any school as a whole, the main goal is to make not good studiers but competent, intelligent, and humane citizens. And this is where interacting and experiencing is important. Meeting friends, building relationships, observing seniors and teachers, and getting their advice. In summary, learning not only from books but also from men is very important. Unfortunately, in my opinion, this is not an aspect that online learning has yet substituted. I believe that once the pandemic settles down, we need to find the right balance between classroom learning and online learning, a hybrid system. For example, the A-level section where mastering subjects is a priority could lean more towards online learning, while all other sections, the O-level, middle school, and primary sections, could predominantly be classroom learning supplemented by online learning.
The general education system has linkages with the tertiary and vocational education system or co-curricular activities that is an integral part of the national development process that impinges on the lives of all Sri Lankans. In this context, the vision of a holistic human development in co-curricular activities encompasses social, economic, political, and personal development as well as ethnic values that are reflected into our day-to-day lives. Co-curriculum is a practical implementation and a transformative process of education into our lives. This is a widespread activity that is present in several schools across Sri Lanka. But during the COVID-19 lockdown period, there has been a downfall in co-curricular activities in Sri Lanka. Or has there been? Today with us we have the past district governor and chairman for LEOS, Lion Dr. Lasantha Gunawardena, to find out more about this.
We all agree that in a present education system, the modern educational theory and practices gives topmost priority on all-round development of the child. For a balanced development of the child, the co-curriculum activities plays a significant role. Most of the social service organizations and other organizations for the past several decades identified the importance of these co-curriculum activities and provided many opportunities for the children and youth under many youth development programs, providing opportunities to experiencing in various extracurricular activities and to become the talented, capable leaders. Before the pandemic, most of the programs were focused on outside the classroom activities, such as games, formation of clubs and societies for various subjects, publication of news bulletins and debating competitions, cultural development activities, social service activities, youth camps, singing and dancing competitions, elder care and citizenship development, etc. With the pandemic, we mostly understand that our usual gatherings and fellowships activities would not be possible, and we focused on using the digital platforms for seminars, health guidance and other competitions, leadership camps and most of the other activities, as well as the fundraisers conducted through the digital platforms. Various methods used to get involved all those who worked with our groups previously and recruit new members for the organization. With the most worldwide accepted organizations has accepted this change, has provided an opportunity for them to engage with youth around the world with similar interest, more active participants, and more publicity for activities. At the beginning of the pandemic, I know that there are certain organizations has lesser members, but with the pandemic, the membership of their organization has increased very much. This shows the digital platforms has created more interaction and the traditional methods and give more value to the most of the organizations. With the organization activities that involve a lot of physical factors such as drama, singing, dancing and things has online given similar or much better impact that it was organized in physically. It was beneficial in many ways. It saved cost, time, energy, but allowed many participants to share and enjoy. So finally, my belief is that this transformation is much benefited to the children and youth for their extracurricular activities, but proper guidance, support and cooperation with the adequate facilities are required them to enhance their knowledge and capabilities, especially developing the good quality leaders. Thank you.
Practice social distancing. Refrain from leaving your homes unless absolutely necessary. Keep your mask on at all times, and most importantly, make sure you wash your hands. Together, we can make a difference. A message from the Royal College Red Cross Society and Dettol.